Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Parshat Toldot. Yair Ratzon, the learning should be the Refuat Kol HaCholim. V'tocham Tanya bat Hodamah Galit Yosef Yair ben Aviv V'chadav Sivan ben Sima B'toch Kol Shar Cholei Yisrael. There are two characters that are called the forefathers of the Jewish people that are in total contrast from one another. The first father of the Jewish people is named Avram. When we follow Avram's story, the main verb is Vayelech. He's walking, he's acting, he's doing. If you ask anyone to tell a story about Avram, they'll have a lot of stories. The Akedah, walking to Israel, fighting against the 5 different kings. So many stories. But when we get to Yitzchak, in a total contrast, suddenly we find a character that never changes. If Avram had 2 names, and Yaakov had 2 names, Yitzchak only has 1. If Avram had 2 wives, and Yaakov had 2 to 4 wives, Yitzchak only had 1. If Avram traveled to Haran and Mitzrayim, and Yaakov traveled to Haran and Mitzrayim, we look at Yitzchak and he never moves from the land of Israel. And even when he's going, Hashem says, you're not a changer, you don't change, you don't leave, you don't do, you don't walk. And there is only one significant story about Yitzchak. And the story is a story which in many ways is going to define his character, because it's his only story. And in Parak Vav, we read about Yitzchak doing an action called digging wells. And in the Torah it says, Vayachpor be'erot hamayim, he digs, asher chafru b'imei Avraham, vayikra lehem kashemot asher kara lehem aviv. So the only action that Yitzchak does is digging wells. And therefore the question is very simple, and the question is, why is this such a significant action? Why do we even care? A story of the Akedah we could philosophically relate to. A story of walking the land of Israel we could emotionally relate to. Digging wells has no relevance and no connection to anyone or any place except for Yitzchak himself. So obviously digging wells has more of a symbolism to it than just trying to find water. And the symbolism of digging a well is very simple. And what you do is you dig and dig and dig until you realize that there was water underneath the surface, but you just needed to find it. Yitzchak is not like Avram. Yitzchak does not move and does not change. He digs deeper to reveal that there was something hidden that was always there. And so if we think about the action of digging the wells, it means that there's hidden potential. And the character of Yitzchak is, are you capable of going underneath the surface to realize what was always there? This past week, I had the greatest privilege to have a Simchat Bat organized by our incredible school and be there with many, many people dancing the Simcha of having our child. And in that Simcha of having the anticipated 6 years of davening for this one little child, I went home at night and I thought to myself, what just happened? And I realized that for me, this was a very, very powerful experience. And we could call it an Avram experience. It was waiting for change. It was trying to daven for change. But for all the people from our school and community that came, for them, they didn't really have to they didn't change so much, but they were doing the action of Yitzchak. They gave me and my wife something called the ability to realize that there's more than what you see. Anyone in the street that would see our child would see a 15-day-old baby screaming. But in a community that looks and tries to uncover what's really there, we all realize together that underneath the surface of that 15-day-old baby is 6 years of davening. Many of us go to the kotel, and the truth is that it's just a bunch of rocks. But underneath those rocks are covering thousands of years of anticipation and tears and tefillah. Yitzchak is a father that doesn't teach us to only go forward, but to dive deeper. Our bracha in this Shabbat, as we sit at our Shabbat tables with our families, is to realize that Shabbat is a time where we don't go far, we don't use our phones, we don't go to the next thing. And therefore we could look at what we have and ask, is there more to it than what it looks like? Is the child at our table the grandfather of the next generation? Is the food that we're eating the love and caring and dedication to our families. And so when we look at the experiences of life, Yitzchak is asking us, can you dig it like a well and realize that there's something else beneath the surface? Shabbat Shalom.